Alrighty, and what's up, you guys? My name is Ryan, and this is my program Zencrypt, and the code review for the CLI, which is version 4. I am trying to implement into a web application to v5. Currently going over the current code to the v4. Just have the imports. Try to have everything fairly organized. You're going to have a key. If a key is not already read, then it will write a new key under that name Zencrypt v5.key, which I have changed already by now. I feel like, for example, minor change to that would be like private.key or private key.zen even. But if it does not find the private key, then it creates a new one for you. And then it'll load the Zencrypt v5.key from the file, and then it'll start the cipher. So there's a couple of functions to clear the clipboard. There's one to copy the clipboard, one to generate a key itself. Again, I tried to add comments so that everything was fairly organized. But essentially what I'm trying to do out of this is create a program that can handle text encryption, file encryption, and hashing with an optional ability to salt. And I like the CLI, but I feel like incorporating the command line interface into a web app would be the best way to go about progressing this project. And the best way that I've figured to do this would be to utilize Flask, essentially, and to create a Flask application based off of this script. But this is the functions to encrypt, decrypt text. Again, neat commentary, very basic. Functions to encrypt the file. It'll ask you for a password, user for a password, and then it will encrypt it with its own salt. But with this specific example, it'll ask the user for the path of the file that you want to encrypt, and it'll ask for the path that you want the outputs to be. And then it will encrypt and or decrypt that file. This is the PGP variable section. I added PGP last. That was implemented into v4. v3 had no PGP. This is the menu for the command line. So when you run it, it has a fairly pleasant look to it, as you can see. Kind of looks like an American flag, but for cipher. But yeah, here I'm just trying to show you the different options as to what you can do whenever you first open the CLI. You have the hash manager. You can encrypt text, encrypt files, PGP encryption, clear the clipboard, and or just exit the program flat out. Each option, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, is going to have its own little menu as well. So the main menu is made up of 4 submenus and 2 actions. And the hash manager will ask you if you would like to salt, and then if you would like to add a salt, then it'll ask the user to input it, and then it will output the generated hash based off of the inputs. And number 2 will essentially just ask you what text you want to encrypt. It was a little bit more basic and simple, and you input the text and then it'll immediately output and copy it to your clipboard. So essentially you can immediately hit decrypt and just control paste and test it. For encrypt files, very similar to encrypt text, just with files. And PGP encryption gives you the options to export private keys, import keys, and etc., etc. You can encrypt using these keys, an imported key or your own key, a new key, and you can decrypt as well. So that's enough about the menu options. I personally really like the PGP encryption idea on this one. But that's the function to export the public key. It'll ask you what you want to name it, and then the user will type out the name, then it will write out the key to wherever the user wants to save it, and then vice versa with the function to import the public key from file. It will read the file based off of wherever the user says or inputs that the key is. So here I'm saying everything is fairly straightforward in my opinion so far, but I'm going to run the program in a jiffy. 1 second. So these are essentially what the menus and the submenus look like. That's the main menu, as we've already gone over. That's the submenu for PGP encryption. It essentially also uses base 64 also. And then this is just me going over the current code still. This is in the encrypt files submenu. Ask or path to encrypt the file, where you want the encrypted file, where you want the decrypted file, etc. It's the encrypted text. So it'll ask, clear the clipboard. I have no idea really what I'm trying to show here. Oh, I see. Yes, I'm. That the copy to clipboard function is everything's well named. This is an older project that I've been working on since roughly 2022, and just been slowly building on it. There's essentially just like a password generator, essentially. This is the verify hash function inside of the SHA-256, the hash generator. But it'll verify whether or not a specific hash is correct or not. Nonetheless, decrypting SHA-256 isn't really possible, so you would have to know what the user input for the original input and what they use for the salt. So again, it's kind of just, as it says, verifying the values. And then that's my Triforce. That is my main menu, because I stay loyal, I stay faithful to the things that I love. And honestly, just even getting the Triforce to render in a way that was accurate was pretty interesting. It's like the best way to do it was genuinely with ASCII art. Just using ASCII. But yeah, my whole idea was to take something and to take it offline. So instead of using like a SHA-256 algorithm on some website, you can run it locally on your PC. Or essentially what I'm trying to do with the version 5 is add it to my own website, so that I at least know that I can trust my website, right? But nonetheless, the CLI, I feel like might still carry more functionality in the end, simply because of its PGP and I guess really how long I've spent on it. But my main goal is to be able to actually turn what I've done here into a web application. Then what would be even ideal would be to create some sort of API that you could send post requests to, and you can send GET requests to, and try to get encryption, decryption that way, hash sync that way. Another route I've thought about taking this was using essentially like a Web3 form, where you would need a specific token, or whenever you would go to the web application, you would need to connect your wallet and verify that you hold a specific NFT, so it would be token gated in order to utilize the platform. Or the NFT itself, or the tokens themselves in a way, would have an ability to have the private key and the public key and be able to encrypt and decrypt. So each NFT would have a different set of keys. But nonetheless, it says here the code itself could use more comments and such, but overall I think that it's very well laid out in terms of foundation, etc. Nonetheless, my idea is to turn the CLI into an actual web app. I made a web app for CS360, etc., using Express and Angular website design that has a Mongo database in the back end, and to handle the admin panel. Nonetheless, in my opinion, it didn't need to be rendered in handlebars or anything super intense, and HTML will indeed work just fine for me. But it does have to be able to be versatile, and I would prefer it to be more modular and with an optimal user interface and user experience for everybody, of course. Windows, Linux, and even if they're on mobile. So again, a couple ideas was to take it a Web3 position onto laying this out as a CLI interface on Solana, or use the web application to where you connect your wallet and then verify, or just a flat-out website. There's a couple directions I was thinking about taking this, and I think the way that I'm going to end up taking it is by just implementing MongoDB and using Zencrypt.tech to get started. Yeah, my ideal approach for most of the things that I like to develop is to KISS, keep it simple, simpleton, keep it simple, stupid, however you want to say it, but nonetheless, to create something that is as efficient as possible, so that there would be no functions broken if the person were to visit the site on something, for example, with JavaScript disabled and fingerprinting disabled, etc. That's something I like to go by. Keep it simple, simpleton. Simpleton. So I think that's about it for that in terms of the code review itself. So this is me actually showcasing what I've got so far. So this is a file, test.txt, and inside of that test.txt is the word test, right? It's decrypted in plain text. But I like to keep things a little bit organized, so the data folder is where I'll be storing everything that I will be decrypting or encrypting. So you can see test.txt up there at the top left. And there's my submenu for encrypt files. And this is the functionality for encrypting a file. In this specific example would be test.txt. So here you enter where you would like the encrypted file to be. So under the data directory, the encrypted directory, testpilot1.txt. Give it a new name, because why not? It wants the password. And then if there's an error, it'll also tell you, it'll log the error. It'll pop out on the console that an error has occurred and could not be encrypted. Try again. In this case, encryption complete. So here, cd over to the encrypted subdirectory ls, and there you can see testpilot1.txt. There's a file there now. So run the command code, testpilot1.txt, and ba-boom. There it is, your encrypted test. File contents. So Control F4. And it's essentially a whole cipher that I have been slowly working on and building on, and I've wanted to do this for a while, and will be taking the opportunity here with no hesitation to advance this one step further into a final version that is not a command line interface, because I'm not trying to SSH init everything. So here's a decrypted, encrypted, and I decrypt it. So you go to testpilot1.txt, give it the path to where you want that file to be decrypted at. Something that I probably also could add here would be a delete function, so to test it and then to delete afterwards, so that you don't have to manually go and delete something after it's been decrypted or encrypted, for example. Plus, the recycle bin is not very safe, so you have to try to shred everything, which is a little bit much. So here's testpilot2.txt, slap it into the decrypted subdirectory. Once again, same password, decryption complete, bada bing, bada boom. So go over there, into the Explorer. Or you can just be like a hacker man and just ls over, cd, change directory over to decrypted. ls, and there you go. It lists the contents, and you can see right there, testpilot2.txt. So the command here is code testpilot2.txt. Run that some gun, and you'll get, there it is. It worked, huh? Crazy. It's amazing when things work. When you don't have to go and spend hours debugging, and I can just show you a program that I've already spent all the hours debugging. So, clear clipboard, which would essentially just be clearing paths. And we will try to do something else here. I can show you another showcase, another functionality. And also, another thing I can fix would be how by default it always goes back to the hash manager. And so you essentially have to choose from there where. But the main entry is always the hash manager. And I don't really like that. Unless you're in another subdirectory, I have that fixed, but not fully fixed. That makes any sense? So as you can see on this hash manager, you can literally enter any of the other subdirectories. So here's PGP Encryption. So what I am trying to export the public key, and I exported it as banana404.txt. And here you can see the file banana404.txt right here. Public key. Boom. Once again, no syntax errors. It makes my entire week. If not, makes me happy. So you can import a key, which I guess in this case, just for time's sake, would be banana404, right? Bada bing, bada boom. So you can use different keys. So you can use different keys, and you can also import other people's keys. But nonetheless, that's banana404 as the message, and then there's a decrypted banana404. Right here, space 64. And one thing I like how it did for the encrypt text was how it would automatically copy it, and in this case scenario I'd have to actually go and copy and paste it, but still at the end of the day it all works. So back to the main menu, which again immediately puts you back into hashing, creating a hash, generating, and yeah, that's it. That's all of it. You can close out, and there's your public keys, and there's everything. That's the keys for the CLI. But yeah, I appreciate your time, guys. Have a super awesome day. And cheers. Final note, my website is ryanshatch.com, and this app will be hosted at zencrypt.tech. You should be able to find you will be able to find all of the code on GitHub via ryanshatch/zencrypt, and I also have a Git book for this for all the documentation. Thank you.